Hey guys, how's it going? Today I wanted to speak about the subject of what is the biggest waste of human potential. I think that us as humans, obviously, just the fact that we have consciousness and that we have the ability to invent, to remember things, to speak about things, to consciously think about things, we definitely have a lot of potential. The only problem I see is that we get distracted by many other things. We fight wars for properties that don't really exist, if you really think about it in some way. After all, we're all part of the same world. It's called Earth. We're part of the same universe. And we all breathe. We all go to the restroom. We all eat. We all cry. We all have bursts of joy, depression. We're scared. And again, I'd like to mention the fact that we are happy sometimes because that's very important. But the problem is that a lot of times we get distracted by a lot of silly things. One of it, and it's such an easy thing to know, is people watch high-speed pursuits on TV. People watch reality television because they're just curious. It's all curiosity for things that are kind of dumb. We gossip about things. We also sometimes, I guess, a lot of people, they tend to over-sexualize a lot of things and they get distracted by that. And also another thing that's kind of sad too is that sometimes we also overwork ourselves and sometimes give too much importance to either the dollar, or we also give too much importance to the job that we're hired to do. And then we kind of forget also the fact that we are mortal and that life is very, very finite in some way. So we waste our potential with all these silly things, these silly things that we always think about that maybe make us even scared to live. And then at the same time, by doing that, then we kind of let go of the potential that we could have had in our life. The fears that are given to us by sometimes our parents or the even population around us that basically tells us what is good, what is bad, what is ethical, what isn't ethical. Sometimes some people focus also too much on religion, and it comes also because of obviously fear of always having to suffer, and maybe also the fear of death in some way. And it's healthy to have all these things because after all we are humans, so we do have some of it. But once it overtakes us, and once we start doing bad for the world, once we start becoming also too materialistic, I think that's one big problem that humanity has, is that we are taught from a very young age about diamonds, owning like beautiful cars and beautiful properties, or having to look a certain way because I mean, it's just shown to us all the time on television and in the media and even by our parents, even in school. We don't want to be judged. We want to be part of like the society in some way, and part of a group. So we kind of conform to that, and at some point the character that we choose to have as a child throughout our experiences becomes the personality that we are. So it's kind of going this way. You make a joke as a kid, people call you poopy head, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess I have a bad sense of humor. But if everybody laughs, then you think, oh, well, maybe I'm funny, and then you get that good feeling because you made people laugh, so you keep on doing it. But usually if you don't do something well, you just assume that you're not good at it. And that's where the wasted potential comes, because I think that a lot of people think that everything in life comes very simply. The fact of getting to a certain career path, or the fact that you want to be a good pianist or whatever, that people often just see results because obviously on television and on stage, or if somebody's performing, obviously they've gotten to a certain level, so you're not going to perform if you can't do something more or less right. So sometimes you get overwhelmed by that fact and think, oh, that person's so talented, or that person can do all these things that I would never be able to do. But you don't really realize that there's hundreds and hundreds and even thousands and thousands of hours of rehearsal to get to that point. And that's where potential gets wasted. Basically, thinking about things that are really not important, getting mad at things that obviously are oblivious. The fact of this is mine, this is yours, this is mine, at some point just creates wars, and sometimes overthinking death over life, and fear. A lot of fear comes from that because we don't know what the future holds. And I think that people also forget that they're so fragile. It only takes literally a few seconds or one split second for a person to die. And it could be a blood clot, it could be walking in the street and somebody hits you, it could be a meteorite falling from the sky, which is probably pretty non-existent threat, but these are the things that people worry about, and I think that kills our potential, and really worrying about things that are not that important, and giving yourself self-doubt. And it's obviously given to us by whatever is surrounding us at some time and some place, and also maybe genetic factors and the way that your brain is wired. But I do believe that you're able to kind of rewire all these things, and if you're able to rewire yourself in a certain way, then you can get over fear, because basically fear is your worst enemy. And the fact of being too comfortable in a certain place, or because maybe a society tells you that you have to act a certain way, you take a path in a career or in school or whatever, but then you look at people who are successful sometimes, and they didn't go to college, and they didn't necessarily have the best education, but they were able to find a way, find a possibility within whatever they were given, because everybody's given a certain set of hands, and you have to be able to play that set of hands the best way you can. It's just the way it is, and complaining about it or having doubt about it, it's not going to really help. So if you want to have the best life you can have and have the potential that you can have, you take whatever hand is given to you and you basically do the best out of it. And it doesn't matter if you live to 80 years old or 90 years old or even 20 years old. You have to be able to use whatever you have and do the great things that you can do within your life. And by greatness, I'm not saying you have to take over the world or be a millionaire or be a movie star or whatever it is. That's exaggeration. That's the extreme, if that makes sense. So you're not trying to do that. You're trying to be the best person within the best possibility, within the best way that your life can be. And some people can be geniuses at that, and they were maybe, for example, the best father they ever could be, or they did the best they ever could within their community. And that's also hitting your potential completely and arriving and achieving that, because everybody's worth in life, or everybody's goal in life more so, is different, and you don't have to be an extreme to be achieving the potential that you can, if that makes sense. So anyways, that's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.